Awesome. So, as the episode 2 of this outbound marketing week, we're going to be talking to Mark Colgan, and yeah, let's hear what he's got to say about outbound marketing. So, introduce yourself, Mark, and then we'll get into it.
Hey, so I run a consultancy called Yellow O, and we work with B2B SaaS businesses. And effectively, we help them marry the strategy with the right technology and make sure that they're getting the most out of the marketing automation and wider marketing technology stack. And that's across the customer acquisition, engagement, and retention. I also completed a Techstars accelerator last year, where I was advising an insurtech startup on their go-to-market strategy. And I work with various startups and get to speak to some really awesome people through the Growth Mentor platform. So I've run quite a lot of outbound campaigns, not only for myself, but for and on behalf of clients. So I've got a ton of value that I'd like to share, because there's still plenty of room for improvement when I look at the emails that I receive on a daily basis.
Sure. Awesome. So, I guess what do you want to talk about first? Personalization tips on outbound, or anything else in your mind?
Yeah, so I think when it comes to personalization, a lot of people assume that that means putting in a first name or putting in the company name, which is great. That you should be personalizing your emails. However, it should go a bit longer than that. I believe, like when it's 2019, a lot of people know that they are in these sequences, or depending on your industry, some industries know it a lot more and they're a lot more familiar with these sort of tactics. So you really need to stand out from the crowd. So first of all, by using merge tags in subject lines can be really useful. So putting in people's first names or their company name can increase the open rate. But then when it comes to the actual content of the email that you're sending, you really should be personalizing that first sentence. And that first sentence needs to be about them, not you or your product. So there are a number of ways that we could find some personalized information. Should I talk about some of those?
Yeah.
Cool. So the first place, and pretty much the main place to go to, and again, it does depend on your market, but if you're targeting any sort of technology company, then LinkedIn is a great place to start. You can look at the person's profile and find out what their background has been. They may have worked at a company that you worked at, or that you've got customers at. They may have been through similar education or to similar experiences that they've got on their LinkedIn profile. But not everybody is on LinkedIn. So where else can you go? So there's options like AngelList and Crunchbase, and there you can start to look at the actual companies they've worked at. And even if you don't know much about the company at this stage, you could be looking at what news articles they've been in, if they have any awards that they've been awarded and won. Again, that they may not. So you could even go down. So like in a pecking order, you could then start to look at their content on their website, on their blog posts. You may see some recent articles that you could mention in the personalized outreach bit. And failing that, social media like Twitter or Facebook, if they have a presence on there, you could check out to see some of the content that they're sharing. And all you're really trying to do is proving to them that you've taken the time to understand a little bit about either them personally or their company, and then you're putting that into the email. And Mailshake, as a tool for facilitating outbound emails, allows you to do this with merge tags. But that does require you to work through a spreadsheet and having one column, which is where you put your intro personalized sentence in, or two sentences, whatever you're writing, and then you can merge them in at bulk. So it makes the outbound process a lot slower, because it takes longer to write these personalized intros, but you get a much better response rate compared to campaigns that you send out without any personalization, or campaigns sent with just a merge tag personalizations like first name, company name, or website. So yeah.
When you say that you have the sheets and you personalize it on the sheet, so effectively you could basically write the entire campaign on Google Sheets.
Yeah, pretty much. The one thing to remember at the moment is Google Sheets doesn't pick up spelling mistakes. There's been a few times where I've been ready to send, but then I quickly put it into a Google Doc or Word, and the table format stays the same, and it picks up some of the grammar and spelling mistakes. You can keep the format or the structure of the intro sentence roughly the same, but you just need to put in the personalized bit per that person. in each one.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can import it into a tool like Mailshake, like Reply.io. There's 30 of them, 40 of them to choose from.
Yeah. And how long do you recommend to spend? How much time do you think is the point of diminishing returns on personalization?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And it comes down to the value of this customer to you. So if the average order value is particularly high, like £20,000 for the average order value, then I would spend a bit more time than perhaps somebody who, when my price point is lower. I still, if I'm going to spend any time actually executing and delivering anything, I'd still rather make it personalized than not at all. So because you achieve better results if you do personalize it. So with saying that, you could just stick to looking at company and social media news, which is a lot easier to copy and paste and put that into the email. So yeah, so I'd say it's hard to say. 2 to 5 minutes it would be enough, but I appreciate if you have thousands, that can obviously add up.
And what about the follow-up? Do you ever personalize that as well, or?
Yeah, so it's harder to personalize the follow-up unless you pre-write the personalized follow-up throughout all of the different the sequences of emails. And a lot of companies only send two or three follow-ups when really you should be sending 6 to 7. So it is quite hard to personalize all of those, but you can still achieve it. But again, this would be where if your average order value is higher, then spend the time to personalize the follow-up. What you can do, which is slightly separate to email personalization, is you take a multi-channel approach and connect with them on LinkedIn or connect with them on Facebook if that's where your audience spends time. Because that way you're still being personable, you're still getting your brand in front of them, but you're not having to kind of personalize 7 different follow-up emails.
Nice. Any closing tips? How to not screw up an outbound campaign?
Yeah, so I think there's quite a few tips. So make it about them and not yourself. So just whenever you're writing an email, just try and put the word "you" in there as many times as possible without it not making sense. So whenever you're thinking about what your company, what your product, what your service can offer, just talk about it in how they would receive it. So you can achieve this and you can do this and you will save time, not we save time for people like you. So really put it into their shoes, as in this is what they would be able to say if they do successfully use your product and service. Offer value, give them links to content that you've produced, offer them an invite to a webinar that you're running. Like, never ask in that first email. People, when you receive cold emails from people and it's like, hey, I hope you're well, it's so fake, it's so false. You don't know that person, so you don't have to worry about those kind of pleasantries. So that would be another one. Keep the call to action to just mainly one thing, or one thing that you want them to do. And I always recommend and implement for my clients to have the call to action at the end of the email should be for them to reply. It's not for them to book a time on the calendar. It's not for them to necessarily click a link to go somewhere. It's like, if you've got a piece of content that you want to share with them, say, hey, would you like to receive a copy of this piece of content? Get them to reply. At the end of the day, only 3% of people that you ever send these emails to are ready to buy. So that means that there's 97% of the people in your email sequences that just aren't ready. And I can share a diagram with you to accompany this video, which talks about the other percentages. So keep that in mind when you're doing your outbound campaigns. You're trying to sell to everybody, but only 3% will ever want to buy from you. So what are you going to do to encourage a relationship to be built? How are you going to show and give value before you ask anything in return, so that when they are ready to purchase and they are ready to buy, they think of you?
So final question. If you had to choose sending to a list that comprises of 2,000 potential leads, right, but very minimally personalized, versus sending to like 250 with super personalized, which would you choose?
250. I'd much rather go with a small amount of number with highly personalized, and making sure that I really craft that
Mhm.
personalization to that person's problem, their pain point, and then offering them the solution to that pain point that they experience.
Awesome. Well, there you have it. Quality over quantity always trumps it. Thank you so much for your time, Mark Colgan. And yeah, if you want to have a chat with him about cold email marketing, he's on Growth Mentor platform. Book a call with him. Friendly guy, as you can see. Yep.
Cheers.
All right. Thanks.
Looking forward to speaking to you. Cheers.
Thanks, Mark.